as at yesterday, global figures stood at 571,678 persons who have tested positive for the coronavirus disease, while 26,494 have died from the outbreak. Yesterday alone, within a period of 24 hours, Italy reported 971 deaths, while Spain recorded 769. The United States recorded a total of 16,894 new cases, with 252 deaths in a period of 24 hours. This scenario reflects the possible outcomes that we are likely to face if we are complacent with the measures that the government has put in place. In our situation, in the last 24 hours, a total of 69 samples from suspected cases of coronavirus have been analyzed in our various laboratories. Out of those, we have received confirmation that 4 people have tested positive for the disease. They include 1 Kenyan and 3 foreigners from America, Cameroon, and Burkina Faso. This now brings to 42 the number of those who have tested positive for the virus in Kenya. Of the 4 confirmed cases, 3 are based in Nairobi and 1 from Mombasa. Consequently, Nairobi continues to lead with 31 cases, followed by Kilifi with 6, Mombasa with 3, while Kajiado and Kwale have 1 each. 24 out of the 42, 24 are male, while 18 are female. Tracing of contacts continues and is ongoing. The total number of close contacts that we are monitoring as we speak are 1,426. Out of this number, 215 have been discharged after completing the mandatory 14-day follow-up period. Currently, our teams are monitoring nearly 1,000 people who have been in close contact. We have 18 individuals admitted at Bagathi Hospital waiting test results. Today, our medical teams have embarked on a mass testing for all those persons who arrived in the country last week and are currently under mandatory quarantine in various designated hotels and government facilities. These tests are based on the arrival dates. However, those who will test positive will be taken to isolation facilities. The exercise will continue until those in the facilities are all tested. We want to appeal to all Kenyans to embrace the fight against coronavirus, as opposed to assuming that this is a government affair, because it is not. And to that effect, it is really, really wrong and disheartening for those particularly in leadership to continue perpetuating false information that have got nothing to do with the real cases, trying to gain political mileage out of a disease is as immoral as anyone could ever imagine. It is the worst of what we can see in terms of political maneuver, and it is wrong. It symbolizes everything that is wrong with our society. For instance, We have noted that misinformation is doing the rounds in social media, where a leader in the country is claiming that there are over 7,000 people in mandatory quarantine. And while this may ultimately be the case, and even perhaps even more people might get into quarantine, it is simply at the moment not true. So why would you wish, as a leader of society? It sounds like a wish. Why would you wish that 7,000 Kenyans should be in quarantine? And why would you think that the government is not telling you the truth? To hide it for what purpose? So it's really disheartening. And for the record, we have 2,050 people currently in mandatory quarantine in 14 designated places in hotels and government designated places. So it's unethical really for anyone, and more so one purporting to be a leader, to mislead people for whatever reasons they may particularly have in regards to the fight against coronavirus. Fellow Kenyans, we want to inform you that we are expanding our capacity for the purposes of intervention measures, particularly in the counties. I want to take this opportunity to say that as NAC, we are particularly grateful to the initiatives of the private sector and other donor communities who are working with the government are achieving. Private sector, for instance, has identified various areas, including schools, including air flight hangars, that can be used if the need were to arise. They can be used as hospitals, isolation facilities, if we were to go that far. And let me make it clear that there is no country on earth that has managed to contain this disease on just existing health facilities. So we know that going forward, it is indeed very likely that our health facilities can and could be overrun by just the demands. And this is why we are saying this is not a government issue alone. The protection of each individual's life, the protection against this disease is an individual responsibility as it is a community responsibility. And what we are asking our community, the business community, the religious community, everybody, is let us think ahead together. Let us ask ourselves realistically, if in other countries, if the British NHS, National Health Service in the UK, has already been overrun by the demands of the illness, even Italy it has happened, and even America is claiming that they don't have this and they don't have the other, and their health facilities have also been overrun. Isn't it realistic to imagine that it could also happen here? And criticizing the government at that point is just adding insult to injury to Kenyans. It is at that point that we as a nation should do what we have always done in times of extreme testing and in times of extreme challenges. We have always come together in our communities, in our villages, and done what needs to be done. In this particular case, we need to be looking as communities, in your villages, what are the secondary schools, particularly boarding secondary schools, that we can begin to identify as potential areas where we can keep the sick if the situation overruns. We ought to be identifying what sort of Nyumba Kumi initiatives should we have. If that happens, there will be no need to cry wolf and to start blaming the government at that point, because it will be late. We need to think about owning this process as a government, as a community, and as Kenyans, let us appreciate this is a Kenyan's issue, and every Kenyan should be on board to try and resolve the problem long before it becomes a menace to the rest of us and to all of us. So when I do this, I do not do so to minimize or diminish our responsibility as a government. I do so as a clarion call for us as Kenyans to be ready for any eventuality. We have always done that in times challenged, such as this that we expect. At the same time, I want to urge employers, as I did yesterday, to kindly release their employees in time to be able to meet the curfew time of 7 p.m. If they do not want to allow their employees to leave on time, then they should prepare accommodation for them. What they cannot do is to release somebody half an hour before 7 o'clock, or at a time that they are so sure that they cannot get home by 7 o'clock. So if you cannot release your employees on time, please prepare accommodation for them. It is unfair to release somebody half an hour, 6:30, and they live in a distant, they live in Thika, and you tell them they should leave at 6:30. It is unfair, and it should not happen. And this is where we ask for responsibility, even amongst our business community. And so, ladies and gentlemen, as I come to the end, I would like to once again emphasize the need for us to observe hygienic behavior. We are asking each and every person, and as I said yesterday, if you look at the person next to you, given the fact that we have 42 people now who are spread in the counties that we have established, when you look at the person next to you, they will not have any sign that they are unwell. They will not have any sign, that they are positive, but they could well be positive. Keeping your distance, physical distance, is what is going to ensure that you do not also become positive. That's a responsibility you owe to yourself. Thank you very much indeed. Okay, thank you very much. Let me say this. First and foremost, we are purchasing, we are buying, and we are already accumulating ventilators in our hospitals. We are importing ventilators from many parts of the world. As you are well aware yourself, there is a shortage of ventilators across. However, we have got people who are also assisting us. I would like to mention here that the World Bank, for example, has donated 250 ventilators. That is in addition to everything else that we are buying. And what I can tell you is that every effort is being made to secure as many of them as possible. As I have just mentioned, we must also begin to build internal capacity for materials. For example, when it comes to personal protective gear, we are now at a place where we believe that starting next week, we can actually be able to start manufacturing those materials ourselves. And I want to thank, as I did, and I know that CS Betty is here with us, I think. She is behind me. You mentioned something. That we are doing everything we can, not only to create capability for ourselves, but possibly even to assist the region. So we are working on ensuring that we have those. We have ICU beds. We have got capacity for at least 1,000 beds that we are putting in addition to whatever areas have existed in the past in terms of ICU capacity. So we continue to build every day we continue to build extra capacity. And I can tell you, we are a long way from where we were a while back. On the issue of, so let me just stop there to say this. If indeed it comes to the fact that we run short of the materials that we are accumulating, it will not be because we did not do everything that we can to ensure that we do have those materials. And I can tell you, and I want to thank our industries and our scientists because of what they continue. They continue to not to surprise us, but to make us happy with what they are nothing. We want to use capacity we have in the country, in our tailoring sector, for example, to start producing masks in the country. So within a very short time, we will not need to import masks. We will make them here. We are looking at possibilities of making personal protective gear here. And I would like to ask Betty to say something on this. Oh yes. Okay. Let me say this. Every institution in the country, every medical institution in the country, may it be Kenyatta National Hospital, may it be other hospitals, level 4 and level 5 hospitals, we are looking at in the next 1 week hiring at least 1,000 more employees. And as the need arises, we will increase those ones. The beauty is that we are not short at the moment. We are not short of medical personnel. It is just they are not in our hospitals, but we have them out there, looking for jobs and wanting to join. So we have that opportunity that is going around. Obviously, it's a process going on because you cannot bring in 2,000 people into your hospital. There has to be some sort of arrangement. They come in, they get acclimatized. As they do so, you get another lot. So we will hire as the necessity arises.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, CS Kagwe. I'd like to confirm that within Kenya there are more than 50 companies that are capable of providing some of these medical inputs. We started obviously with things like sanitizers, and we've seen a large number come into the market. Our textile sector has confirmed that they have capacity to be able to make the PPEs. And we're in conversations also with our motor sector to see if they can also make some of these ventilators. They've not had to do it in the past, but they have that capacity. So we are confident, working also with our scientists and our engineers, that we can build greater capacity to be able to supply these goods within the country. Thank you very much.
Sheria haina wakubwa. Sheria haijui mkubwa ama mdogo. Ukiwa umevunja sheria, utashtakiwa. Lazima ushtakiwe. Sio mimi nasema. Sio mimi naamini ati yeye atashikwa. Ni vile sheria iko. Huwezi kuambia Wakenya uongo. Huwezi kusema uongo. Sana kulingana na vile tunaona, wewe uanze kuambia watu ati iko wagonjwa wengi kuliko wale tuko nao, alafu unafikiria hiyo maneno itaenda tu hivyo hivyo. Sasa tukiruhusu watu wafanye hivyo, jameni, si wengine wataanza kusema watu 40 ama 60 wamekufa. Kwa hivyo ukiruhusu mtu mmoja, uruhusu wote. Ukishika mmoja, ushike wote. Let me put it this way. Nobody is going home on the call of a favor. Let me first of all stop that. No, because I have got, as I said yesterday, if I'm going to give a favor, why would I leave my sister's child in quarantine? You know, that's the first one I would start with. So I've got friends of mine who have got their children in there, in quarantine. And the point I have made is this. It is a good thing when your child is in quarantine or your friend is in quarantine. It's a good thing because you don't know whether they have it or not. And for us parents, when your child is in quarantine and you bring them to your house, what you are doing is exposing yourself, because given the statistics, they may very well live, but you may very well die. There are cases, for example, there has been cases of people who came from the UK and they came on medical grounds. They were sick. They had gone for treatment. So, and the doctors, and we have said if a doctor can come and show that this is my patient, I am prepared to go and treat them and quarantine them in their own place or their own homes, we have no issue with that. Because also, the last thing that we want is to detain a sick patient where they are not reachable by their doctors. So on a doctor's setting, we have said yes, there is a doctor setting. The doctor has said that this is my patient, and we have, I think, on 2-3, no more than that, and I think that Dr. Amoth can confirm that. But we are not releasing anybody on the basis of friendship. But can I just add one more thing? And that is the reason why we would never do that. We have an opportunity to break the cycle and not to reach the point that I was describing earlier. You know, a situation where we have got mass sickness. We have an opportunity. And this is what I want to emphasize on. Let us take advantage of this opportunity. Let's break this cycle. If we do what we are saying, and if we follow the rules that we are saying, that opportunity is still with Kenyans. Please, let's do it. Let's just show the rest of the world and to show ourselves that indeed we can do it. The last one here? Oh, okay, sorry. There is not a single person who has been reported infected in Kenya or otherwise that whose contacts we are not following. We are not just following the contacts. In some cases, we are even following the contacts of the contacts. You know, so we are not leaving any stone unturned in this fight. And I can say, and I thank Safaricom because they are also assisting us with ensuring that even where people are, we can still be able, even after release, we can still be able to talk to them and to follow them and to know what locations they are, because that is very important for us to protect them. Finally, Hiyo kemikali inaitwa sanitizer. Lakini hebu nimweleze kitu kimoja. Sanitizer ni ya kutumia ukiwa huna maji na huwezi kufikia maji na sabuni. Ile kitu inasaidia sana kupigana na hii ugonjwa ni usafi. Ni usafi. Wewe uwe msafi. Na unajikinga na ina njia fupi sana. Na njia rahisi sana. Chukua sabuni, osha mkono na njia inaofaa, nawa mkono na njia inaofaa, na utakuwa sawa. Ukiwa tu unafanya hivyo, vile vile wale ambao mko nyumba na hao wanafanya vile vile, na sana sana kukaa mbali kidogo na marafiki, kwa sababu huwezi kujua kama rafiki yako ana hii ugonjwa ama hana. Huwezi kuona na macho huwezi kujua. Kuna wale wanafikiria ati ukiwa na coronavirus, ukiwa hapo tunakuona na tunajua wewe una coronavirus. Sio hivyo. Sio wewe. Nasema kwa ufupi njia ya kujikinga ni ukae kidogo, mitali 2 bali unakaa bali kidogo. Lakini vile vile wale ambao wako sokoni, wananchi wale wanaenda kununua mboga ama chochote, tafadhalini wewe goja mwenzako anunue kile ananunua, alafu wewe ukaribie pahali ulikuwa unakaribia, pahali unataka kununua kile unataka kununua. Lakini ile mambo inaharibu ni kusukumana, watu wanashikana, wengine hawajaelewa ati hii maneno tunayo sio maneno rahisi, na ni lazima kila mtu anajichunga yeye mwenyewe. Usigoje serikali ikushunge, jishunge wewe mwenyewe, kwa sababu wewe na yule mwingine ndio serikali na ndio Kenya. Kwa hivyo hii maneno si ya serikali pekee. Hii ni maneno ambao lazima tushikane pamoja, lazima tuungane pamoja, lazima watu wakiwa nyumbani, watu wakiwa nyumba 10, watu wakiwa katika familia, ni lazima zote tunafanya kazi pamoja, na ni lazima zote tunasaidiana pamoja. Vile vile ningetaka kusihi wale ambao wako viongozi, tafadhalini msije mkalete mzaha na mambo ambayo ni mangumu na ni mambo ambayo inaleta shida katika nchi yetu ya Kenya. Kwa hivyo ukiwa mwanasiasa, kama mimi ni mwanasiasa, tafadhalini sisi wanasiasa kwa wakati huu washeni tuweke usiasa upande, tuwashie madaktari wasungumze habari ya hii ugonjwa, hii virusi, kwa sababu wewe sio daktari. Kama daktari hazungumuzi siasa, na wewe usizungumze mambo ya wadaktari, tafadhalini. As far as doctors are concerned, vile vile tunataka kuchunga sana maisha ya madaktari na wale ambao wanafanya kazi katika hii sekta ya health, kwa sababu hao ndio askari wetu wa mstari wa mbele, na wakiwa wagonjwa basi sisi tunafanya nini? Tutachungwa na nani? Kwa hivyo we are ensuring at every point, and that's why when the CS for Trade was talking here, she emphasized our capacity now to be able to make our PPEs, because once we can make our own PPEs, then you can be sure that we will cover 100% of our health workers. And so far we've been lucky. We have heard how in other countries a lot of their nurses and doctors have tested positive. We are lucky in that sense. It has not happened in Kenya yet, and we hope it stays that way. And the way to make it stay that way is to make sure that we have got sufficient protective gear, and we will do everything within our powers. And we continue to thank them, those working in laboratories, those working in the wards, those doctors who are on call perpetually, everybody who is in every other sector in the health industry. And I want to thank the security operators, because the reports we are getting is that yesterday they were very helpful to those in the health sector who are traveling at night, and going elsewhere for their duties. Let's continue that way. But fellow Kenyans, let us work together to see whether we can break this cycle and save Kenyans. Thank you all very much. Kwa sababu kafyu iko karibu kwanza, ningetaka ndugu yangu Governor Kuti aseme moja mbili ambayo inahusu mambo ya counties.
Asante sana, nitasema kwa Kiswahili na kwa kifupi sana ya kwamba nashukuru vile governors wamechukua uongozi na kuhakikisha ya kwamba counties zinajitayarisha kwa haya mambo ambaye ingawa tunaomba Mungu yasitufikie, pia tunajitayarisha iwapo ikifika tuwe tayari. Nashukuru ya kwamba tumetengeneza county emergency response teams ikiwa pamoja na county commissioners, national government ikichanganyika na county national government na county government wakiwa wanafanya kazi pamoja. Leo mumesikia umuhimu ya kufanya kazi pamoja, serikali, wananchi, viongozi wa dini, viongozi wa siasa, ili tuweze sisi wote katika kila county tushiriki, tukae pamoja na tuone ni namna gani tutashinda hii ugonjwa. Kama wewe uko na ujuzi ya kutengeneza masks katika county, ni muhimu county emergency response team ipatie local capacity ili tuweze kutengeneza facial masks, protective gear, kwa sababu hii leo ni mafunzo kwetu. Sio tu tunaongojea namna ya kuepuka hii ugonjwa, baada ya hii ugonjwa, kwa sababu katika kila shida lazima kuwe na opportunity. Kwa hivyo opportunity ya kuamsha uwezo wetu wa kujitegemea, hii ugonjwa imetufunza, kwa sababu kama ni ventilators, umeona kila dunia inakimbiza, haitoshi, hata even developed world hawana. Kwa hivyo ni muhimu tusaidiane. Kama ni mambo ya mashule, lazima kwa wakati huu kila county itambue ni shule gani zitakuwa quarantine, kwa sababu isolation haitatosha, na mahospitali yakifurika lazima tupange tutaenda wapi. Kwa hivyo hayo ndio message ya leo, na mimi nashukuru sana kazi ambayo inafanyika katika counties kusafisha masoko, kueneza watu warudi nyumbani mapema, kusafisha mikono, na ninashukuru pia sasa hata watu wa dini ambao juzi walikuwa wameendelea na kukusanya watu kwa maombi. Mara hii ninashukuru sana, na kwa hivyo hii ni wakati wa Kenya kuja pamoja, ni wakati wa kuweka siasa kando, ni wakati ya kuhakikisha kila county imejipanga ili ikija wakati huo tuko tayari. Asante sana.
All right, a statement there by the Cabinet Secretary for Health, Mutahi Kagwe, on the state of the COVID-19 in the country, as well as giving us numbers globally on the number of people infected at this point. The number of people in the country who have tested positive for the COVID-19 has risen to 42, and this comes after 69 samples of the suspected cases were analyzed yesterday and today. So that means 4 more people have tested positive for COVID-19. Out of the 4 people who've just been tested positive for the COVID-19, 1 is a Kenyan and 3 are foreigners. And in that number, 3 are based in Nairobi and 1 is based in Mombasa. Currently, according to the Cabinet Secretary, Nairobi is really leading with 31 cases, Kilifi with 6, while Kajiado and Kwale has 1 case each, and 24 out of the numbers are 24 out of the numbers are male and 18 are female. And of course, he's talked about the tracing of contacts, which is ongoing. He said also the medical team has embarked on mass testing for those who've arrived into the country last week, and different dates according to how people came into the country. But of course, also very importantly, that the Cabinet Secretary has talked about is the propagating of false information on social media, saying that a leader did perpetrate wrong information on social media, talking about a huge number of those who've been in quarantine, saying that is not the true position, and the government has denounced that particular statement. He's also talked about hygiene, but listen to this. Even as the coronavirus pandemic wave continues to intensify, the crisis has injected uncertainty into what used to be mundane tasks for many people. Like, is it safe to touch the doorknob? Can you go to the gym? Or can you even hug your grandparents? Well, tonight we'll be answering all your questions through our panel of experts. What do you want to know about the pandemic and how it affects our lives? Whatever questions you have, whether big or small, whether it's about the science of the virus, the health and safety of others, or even the broader political and economic impact of the pandemic, by sending us your questions, preferably through a very brief video or text to the WhatsApp number 0745 925 002. Get that right, 0745 925 002. Stay with us, stay safe, and see you tonight.
Nyaja wa Kenya, hii ni public service announcement kuhusu coronavirus.
The Ministry of Health advises all returnees from abroad to self-quarantine for at least 14 days, whether they feel well or unwell.
Wash your hands regularly following the 8 steps of hand washing. Wet hands with warm water, apply a small amount of soap, rub palms together, rub fingers and thumbs and the beads in between, rub nails on palms, rub the back of each hand, rinse with clean running water, and dry thoroughly with a clean dry towel.
Furthermore, it is advisable to cover your mouth and nose adequately when sneezing or coughing, and immediately dispose of the tissue in a dustbin. Please do not use handkerchiefs if you can avoid it. If disposable tissue is unavailable, cough into your elbow. Try and avoid close contact with anyone showing signs of respiratory illness, such as coughing or sneezing.
Before you share any coronavirus information on social media, please verify it with Ministry of Health to avoid panic and alarm among your fellow Kenyans.
PesaLink is the cheapest way to send and receive money instantly into your bank account, anytime, anywhere. Use PesaLink today in 3 easy steps. Step 1. Select PesaLink on your bank app or USSD. Step 2. Select either send to phone or send to account. Step 3. Input the phone number or account number to send money to and confirm the transaction. PesaLink. Easy, affordable, instant.
To help fight the spread of coronavirus, learn Lifebuoy's hand washing habits. Wash hands with soap or use an alcohol-based hand sanitizer. Together, let's help fight the spread of coronavirus in Kenya.
Female genital mutilation is one of the worst forms of gender-based violence that is meted on girls and women worldwide. According to UNICEF, more than 200 million girls and women alive today have been cut worldwide, and 9.3 million have undergone the cut in Kenya. Another 3 million girls are at risk of undergoing the cut every year. Therefore, His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta has committed to end FGM in Kenya by the year 2022. Ending FGM is the responsibility of every Kenyan. Kukomesha ukeketaji ni jukumu langu, jukumu lako na jukumu letu. Pamoja tukomeshe ukeketaji kufikia mwaka wa 2022. This message is brought to you by the Anti-FGM Board in collaboration with UNICEF Kenya.
Smiles are one of the most important things we have. In Kenya, 1 in 2 children still suffer from cavities. Pepsodent with maximum cavity protection repairs tiny holes before they become cavities. Because every smile matters.
Swaddling needs a blanket and helps your baby feel safe and secure as she adjusts to life outside the womb. Spread your baby's blanket out on a flat surface. Place your baby face up on the blanket. Their head should sit above the folded corner. Straighten your baby's arms, then take the sides of the blanket and wrap it over their arms and chest. Loosely twist the bottom of the blanket and tuck it underneath your baby. At this point, your baby is fully covered.
Kiss Kids, no rashes. Bye-bye rashes. Buy diapers. Choose Kiss Kids.
Protect yourself against coronavirus by using Amara antibacterial hand sanitizer that will effectively clean your hands and eliminate disease-causing virus while you're on the go. PesaLink is the cheapest way to send and receive money instantly into your bank account anytime, anywhere. Use PesaLink today in 3 easy steps. Step 1. Select PesaLink on your bank app or USSD. Step 2. Select either send to phone or send to account. Step 3. Input the phone number or account number to send money to and confirm the transaction. PesaLink. Easy, affordable, instant.
For a better tomorrow, don't forget to do the 1, 2, 3 with Colgate every night. Molfix breathable surface developed with Airsoft technology is very soft and provides the best Molfix skincare.
I've found the best diaper for my baby's sensitive skin.
All babies deserve a high-quality diaper. You should also try Molfix.
Working from home? No problem. Fiber Home has you covered with the fastest and most reliable internet speeds. Get connected today. Kazi lazima iendelee.
Through the automated parking system, you can now pay for parking in 3 stress-free ways. Using M-Pesa through the USSD code *486*12#, or using cash at the CAPS payment points located in the parkings, or using your preloaded CAPS A card. No payment will be done at the exits.
Smiles are one of the most important things we have. In Kenya, 1 in 2 children still suffer from cavities. Pepsodent with maximum cavity protection repairs tiny holes before they become cavities. Because every smile matters.
NTV, turning on your world. The following program has been rated GE. It is therefore suitable for general family viewing.
It is Health Diary. My name is Gladys Gashanjan. We're coming to you from the Eastland Hotel here in Nairobi. Now, this condition is primarily invisible, but at times it's betrayed by physical symptoms that many cannot explain. I'm talking about a rare condition called myasthenia gravis, abbreviated as MG. Now, despite its debilitating nature, those who live with this condition are mostly misunderstood, told that they're being lazy or they're pretending. So today we take time to shed light on this condition, starting out with the fact of the matter. Myasthenia gravis is a neuromuscular disease that is characterized by weakness and degeneration of skeletal muscle. MG is caused by a breakdown in the normal communication between nerves and muscles. The most commonly affected muscles are those of the eyes, face, and swallowing. There is no cure for myasthenia gravis, but treatment can help relieve signs and symptoms. Though MG can affect people of any age, it's more common in women younger than 40 and in men older than 60.
I went for a normal eye checkup and the doctor saw that things were not right because my eyelids were drooping. That is the first sign of myasthenia gravis. So after a few tests, he told me that he thinks I have myasthenia gravis. So he referred me to a neurologist at Aga Khan. My body started failing in 2015, but I didn't know that it was failing. So if I'm standing and they decide they won't do anything, my limbs, I will remain standing until when they gain motion. If it's walking and they decide that there's nothing being done, I'll find myself down. And my boss was quite concerned and he sent me to Kenyatta National Hospital. After a series of tests, they re-diagnosed me again with myasthenia gravis. And this time, it was quite serious because the doctor told me that if I didn't take the medicines that she's going to prescribe for me, that I will die. And I was quite stressed. That is the time that you're battling with God, you're wishing for death to come, but it's not coming. And I remember going into depression for a whole year. So the medicines that I was prescribed had really serious side effects. I used to be in constant pain, and it used to be quite painful that no painkillers could relieve that pain. Something as easy as lifting a phone up becomes quite tedious. And if you try to explain to the normal person, they would think that you're lying. And being a chef, it really affected my work. Because 1 minute I'm okay, I can do my work as need be, and the next minute I can't even lift up my knife. I underwent the surgery. It's a major surgery. From there, at least some of the symptoms have been alleviated. I've learned to respect my body. I don't push it. It also affects you financially because it's a very expensive disorder. My plea to the government, first of all, is to ensure that myasthenia gravis is covered under the NHIF card. If you realize that your family member or a friend has myasthenia gravis, be sympathetic, don't push them.
So the conversation is myasthenia gravis, abbreviated as MG. And to help us understand this rare condition, we have with me Dr. Haman Eke, who is a neurologist. Thank you for your time. And Alice Ngoiri, who is living with MG. Thank you for joining me on this conversation. Now, we'll start with you, Daktari. It is caused by a breakdown in the normal communications between the nerves and muscles. What causes that?
So for your muscle to be able to move, the nerve transmits an electrical signal, and then there's a junction between the nerve and the muscle where there's an exchange of chemicals that takes place. These chemicals are released from the nerve terminal into a small space, and then they move towards the muscle, and there are receptors on the other side of the muscle that take up this chemical and then initiate muscle movement. Now, in myasthenia, there's a problem with these receptors in the muscles. Either they are very few or they've been blocked by some antibodies, and hence the chemical cannot act on the other side of the muscle effectively. And this condition of myasthenia is what we refer to medically as an autoimmune process, which means it's predominantly caused by your body generating abnormal antibodies against its own tissues, what we call autoimmune conditions.
Are genetics at play here, environmental factors?
There is no strong link in terms of families. Although if you have an autoimmune condition running in your family, the likelihood that you'll have it is greater than somebody who does not have anyone in their family with an autoimmune condition.
For you, Ngoiri, is that the case, or are you the first person to have this condition in your family?
I'm the first person to have myasthenia gravis in our family, but my father has arthritis, which is also, sometimes it can be an autoimmune.
Some forms of arthritis, like rheumatoid arthritis, which are autoimmune in nature. Yeah.
The breakdown in communication that we're talking about affects some muscles, for others it's all the muscles. You had said yours is generalized. What does that mean?
Because when I'm feeling weak, it starts from my eyes, my mouth chewing, my hands writing, walking, so it's all the muscles.
There's a population of people in whom it only affects the eyes, and actually it remains restricted to the eyes only. And the effect on the eyes is usually that the eye looks like there's limited opening of the eyes. You'd think that a person is actually dozing off or closing their eyes, but actually it's because the muscle gets weak with time. And in other people, they develop double vision, and the big reason for that is that they are unable to move their eyes either sideways or up and down in the normal way. That's the first one, ocular myasthenia. The second one is what we call generalized, which means there is more widespread involvement of other skeletal muscles. So this could be the muscles that affect speech, the muscles involved in chewing of food, the muscles involved in proper swallowings, and then you now have your other muscles of your limbs. That's the hands and the legs that help you to move.
Alice, you said you were diagnosed of MG 15 years ago. You were in Form 3. Yes. What were the first symptoms?
I was in a boarding school, so the first symptoms were my eyes and my hands. Those were the first symptoms. My hands, in that when I would try to comb my hair, I would not be able to lift my hand to get the comb to comb my hair. And then when I'd go to the toilet, there were latrines. If I tried to crouch, I'm unable to lift myself up. So I'd need support for someone to pull me up. Yeah.
How long did it take to diagnose it as MG?
For me, I wouldn't say I went more than a year, because it was second time around May, June. But we got a diagnosis in December the same year. But at that time, we were living in Eldoret, so we were coming to Nairobi frequently to see different doctors. Yes. For me to come up to Nairobi is because I was unable to continue with school.
Now, Daktari, talking to some people about the symptoms of MG, people were quick to say, but that sounds like a stroke. Now, with that kind of mentality, I can only imagine how high the rates of misdiagnosis are.
Myasthenia gravis is actually a rare disease. If we look at the incidence, which means for our population of about 50 million, how many new cases do we actually expect to have in a year? And that is about 500 only. If you compare that to diseases like malaria, cholera, and other infectious diseases, it's pretty low. This is not a condition that is commonly seen outside specialty practice. And then the symptoms can be quite non-specific, and they can sound like just everyday tiredness. But the hallmarks of this is somebody who has tiredness that is recurrent, and is progressive, especially with activity, and also with progression of the day. Another common thing, apart from that tiredness or fatigability, as we call it medically, is what we call variability. In that, these people can have days or times when they're almost completely well, and then sometimes they're just quite tired. And it can even baffle doctors, nurses, and sometimes people think, is this person pretending? Is this more psychological? And there are many patients who are sent to counselors and our psychiatric colleagues to be seen because they're being examined, and the time they're being examined, they're found to be okay. So why is this that they are tired yesterday and they are unable to move, and then today they're completely fine? Of course, the patients who come and they're extremely ill, or a person who comes in and they have involvement of the eyes, for example, and over the last 1 week they've developed a squint, then that tells you there's something wrong. That is more likely to be investigated. Or a person whose eyes cannot open completely, that is a bit more alarming, because when you look at a person, the first thing you look at is the face. If the eye is a squint and you met this person last week and they didn't have a squint, then you're thinking there's something wrong. Or if they cannot swallow, or if they're choking and it's new. or if they go into what is called a myasthenic crisis, which means sometimes it actually involves the muscles of breathing, and they get into severe difficulty in breathing, then people are likely to give more attention to that than this person who is in high school and cannot comb their hair, or they occasionally need help to rise from a toilet seat. That is more likely to be overlooked and attributed to other things.
Okay. Now, Dr. Hammond, when we come back from the break, I'd like you to explain to us the disparity in the age, who is affected more, women or men, and what ages we should look out for right after this break.
Heaviness and a burning inside, it could be heartburn.
Indigestion and heartburn? Eno gets to work in 6 seconds and works on the 6 symptoms of heartburn so you can keep living life non-stop. Eno, fight heartburn and indigestion fast.
You seem very happy with Molfix.
Yes, we are so happy. I discovered Molfix with my second baby. There's a big difference.
It has a soft and skin-friendly inner surface. And Molfix has the umbilical cord notch.
True. It offers a great protection for my baby.
Molfix breathable surface developed with Airsoft technology is very soft and provides the best Molfix skincare.
I found the best diaper for my baby's sensitive skin.
All babies deserve a high-quality diaper. You should also try Molfix.
Usingoje hadi dakika ya mwisho. Pimwa kwenye hospitali ya serikali. Matibabu inapatikana bila malipo. TB inakinga na tiba.
Do your gums hurt? Yeah. Does your toothpaste contain sage, eucalyptus, myrrh, chamomile?
All that in one toothpaste?
Yes, try Colgate Herbal. Colgate Herbal contains nature's best herbs and Colgate's fluoride technology to give you strong teeth and healthy gums.
Ah, Colgate Herbal.
Let's go. Colgate Herbal for strong teeth and healthy gums naturally.
Now more than ever, you need to be abreast with the daily happenings wherever you are. Get the Daily Nation e-paper with a free COVID-19 newsletter at a special highly discounted rate of Kenya shillings 500 for a period of 1 month. Daily Nation. News anytime, anywhere.
Stay safe. Go digital. Reduce the use of cash and the risk of contamination. Enjoy the convenience and security of PesaPap mobile banking and Family Bank internet banking solutions anytime, anywhere.
Welcome back. The conversation today, Myasthenia gravis, MG. My name is Gladys Gashanja, still with Alice Ngoiri and, of course, Dr. Herman Eke, who is a neurologist. Now, Dr. factors that can worsen MG, fatigue, illness, stress, pregnancy, menstrual periods. What is the connection?
The connection is things that potentially could affect the receptors for the chemical called acetylcholine. And this includes, so these receptors, first of all, don't work very well when there's a lot of heat. And secondly, when there's an infection, the patient is likely to worsen. Interestingly, there are also medication, both prescription and over-the-counter medication that can actually worsen myasthenia. So patients with myasthenia should actually be careful about the kind of medications they take, and they should always remind doctors or pharmacists that they are seeing that they actually have myasthenia and they're on certain medication, because these medications can potentially worsen the myasthenia or interact with some of the medications that are given for myasthenia and lead to clinical worsening. Interestingly, some patients in pregnancy remain the same as before pregnancy. 30% of them worsen and 30% of them get better.
Okay, so with pregnancy on the list as something that can worsen MG, you have 2 babies.
Yes.
How have your pregnancies been?
The first 3 months, the first trimester, my MG was so bad because I was even being supported to go to the toilet, to stand up and all that. But after the first 3 months, it not become better, it just became slightly better, but I was still very weak. But with this second pregnancy, the weakness was not there.
The condition is common in women younger than 40, but in men older than 60. Why?
That is really based on what you call autoimmunity, which means when you have a condition in which your body produces antibodies against your own tissues, which myasthenia is one of those conditions. So these conditions, first of all, tend to be more frequent in women compared to men. On the overall, it tends to sort of obey this distribution of younger in the females and older in the men.
We talked about the stigma that comes with it. So in your adult life, have you had to face people saying, oh, she's pretending, she's just lazy, and such like things?
Most people ask, aren't you seeing a doctor? When are you getting better? Aren't you not in medication? So the stigma is there, first of all, is you're lazy or you're pretending. Because the issue with myasthenia, like right now, I might be here with you and I'm very okay and we'd even walk outside and everything. But you'd call me tomorrow and I even tell you I'm unable to talk, and I tell you I can't get out of bed. So people don't see how yesterday you were okay, what has changed if you just slept. Then also when you tell people your body gets fatigued, people assume that if you rest, the fatigue should end.
People with myasthenia, it's like a double tragedy, really, because already their muscles are quite weak. So adding something like an infection on top can really make them sick. Then sometimes people maybe are not on adequate doses of medications because the medications needed are actually required to suppress the immune system, just in a sort of generic definition there. And sometimes the doses are not adequate, or sometimes the disease is progressing, just like any other disease. You know, people can go through periods of worsening that sometimes cannot be very well explained. And interestingly, for some people, even just vaccination. Like, for example, if you need to travel out and you need a yellow fever vaccine, you'll have it and there's no problem. But patients with myasthenia actually need to consult with their neurologist before they have vaccinations, because vaccinations can potentially worsen, and especially there are some which they should potentially not actually be given. A lot more needs to go out there in terms of education. And what we try to also do is to bring in the families of these patients, because you can't have everyone supporting you. For example, you can't go to the doctor with your entire family or all your colleagues from work. But the few core people who are close to you should actually be able to understand you.
Alice, let's talk about treatment. How does that look like for you?
There are two ways one can be treated. There's an option of surgery for some people and it works, but I've never had surgery. I've been on medication for all these 15 years. I've been on medication. I started with a steroid called prednisone, and for it, now this medication has symptoms that sometimes you are unable to manage. First of all, there's a lot of weight gain. The upper body, you gain so much weight. We actually call it moon face because your face is completely round and then the tummy just falls off, and it's all because of the medication. You have increased appetite and acidity issues. So with some of the medications for myasthenia have brought other issues. Like for me, it's brought issues to do with acidity. And for some people, the same medications, they take the medication and they are unable to function.
What do you consider as a specialist when you're actually treating this condition?
The first line of treatment we give is a medication called pyridostigmine. And basically what this medication does is that it helps this chemical called acetylcholine to hang around the area of the receptors for a longer time. And this is a symptomatic treatment. For instance, if you have malaria, you need an antimalarial tablet. But because you have headaches and you have fever, you also need paracetamol. Paracetamol doesn't treat malaria, but it's integral to the treatment of malaria to manage the symptoms. So pyridostigmine comes in that way, in that it helps, it's like a boost, but it's not sorting out the underlying problem of the antibodies. That's where medications like prednisone come in. In the long run, prednisone has an unacceptable side effect profile, as you've already alluded to. So we give what are called steroid-sparing agents, and there are quite a number in the market that are available. The caveat with these steroid-sparing agents is that they take minimum of, most of them actually 6 to 12 months to start working. So once the other medications that we call steroid-sparing agents kick in many months, then we can start slowly reducing the doses of steroids and then get out of the side effect profile. There are medications that we use as what we call rescue therapy, which means the patient has gotten into an acute myasthenic crisis. You know, they're getting difficult in breathing, they require to go to the ICU. In that scenario, the medications used are quite special. The alternative for that is what we call plasma exchange, where a patient will go into a hospital, will be connected to a machine that looks like a dialysis machine, and over about 10 days, on alternate days, the blood is removed and cycled through special filters to filter out the antibodies. So an intricate process. Lastly, there are patients who don't actually respond to these rescue therapies and have to be escalated to medications that are considered chemotherapy for cancer.
Do you have any support from NHIF insurance companies?
With myasthenia, NHIF doesn't, it supports us. If you're admitted, it will pay for the normal bed the way it normally does. But for the surgery, it doesn't cover, which from what we hear, now I don't know if it's just a rumor, it's supposed to cover for the surgery. What now we do, we have to use private companies for insurance, and some do. When you give them a profile of how your condition is, some insurance companies just say no. For me, what I would ask society to do first of all is just to read about it, or try just to ask what it is, so that you're not in a position to look at this person and judge them. So society should try and understand, and especially if it's a work setup, to give slightly lighter duties to these people with myasthenia gravis, or even just give them days off, because there are some who miss works and it's deducted from their salary.
Somebody who is in the mashinani, where do they even start from if they cannot afford insurance?
This is not actually unique to myasthenia. This is so many other conditions that, one, are undiagnosed, secondly, are not properly treated because of various factors, include staffing, including availability of specialists, including availability of medications, including patient factors. That's why health is beyond the hospital, because even access to the hospital is a big problem in some areas. Access to medications is a big problem in some areas. So as you're asking for the person in the mashinani, so their first port of call, of course, will be the local hospital. Whatever we say in medicine is that the healthcare worker should maintain what we call a high index of suspicion, especially in these people who are coming with this recurrence of extreme tiredness. It's not always an infection. It's not always that they're pretending. It doesn't always have to be give them an antibiotic and see whether they improve. start asking yourself, could this be something else? You may not know what it is, but you have this feeling that this person needs to be referred to somebody else who may be able to see them. If somebody develops a squint and they never had a squint, that's something that needs to probably be investigated. If somebody is having difficulty swallowing, difficulty breathing, and is very tired, then you need to look at them more intensely or refer them on. It's easy to actually blame the nurse in the dispensary in the village for not actually recognizing this problem, but they may never actually have seen a case of myasthenia gravis. So speaking about our referral system, how do we refer these patients? How do we make sure that they expeditiously are seen? And then this is where doctors should come in and write to these organizations, write medical reports, make recommendations. And it may not be a permanent recommendation that you cannot go out to the field, but it may just be for 1 year you're not able to go. Then we can vary that recommendation after a year and review and say this person is now probably in remission, they're much better off, I think they can now go full throttle.
Thank you so much, Dr. Haman Eke, neurologist, and of course Alice Ngoiri, who's living with MG and living a full life. So it's really encouraging to hear your story. The conversation on MG ends there, but we have the health tip coming right after this.
Exercises that people can do in the water. We have aqua aerobics, which is aerobics done in the swimming pool to music. It's a class that is done to music. We also have aqua zumba. This will engage your core, your back, the front of your thigh, which is the quadriceps, and the back of your thigh, hamstring. You can also do a squat. You can do some jogging on the spot. And aqua aerobics is highly recommended for expectant women, and we also have senior citizens or people who have suffered either injury or trauma, what we call trauma, or arthritis, a slipped disc, back problems, because the water creates a shock absorber. It is said to be one of the exercises where you can use as many muscle groups at one time. So it is extremely effective. It can be done from any age.
So remember, you can reach us on our Twitter, Instagram, Facebook with all your suggestions and comments regarding Health Diary. My name is Gladys Gashanja, and we've been coming to you from the Eastland Hotel here in Nairobi. Until next time, see you. But it sometimes is, I have thrown my throat. Let's do this. Hi, today we take time to shed light. Jesus.
Oi.
Mr. Kyoko, mimi nilikukosea wapi chatini?
Sensitivity is a short, sharp pain that people experience when they have something hot or cold getting to the nerve of the tooth. Dentists recommend Sensodyne to their patients. It's able to get inside the tooth and calm the nerve of the tooth down. And the proof's in the results. It works.
Sona moja imetengenezwa kwa njia spesheli ili kupambana na maumivu kwa haraka. Sona moja ina aspirin kama kiungo. Sona moja, kitulizo kamili. Maumivu yakizidi, pata ushauri wa daktari.
Ladies and gentlemen,
get ready now. Get ready.
Ready, set, jump to the rhythm as hard as you can go. Steady, to the letter right, turn it up, we giving a show.
Hey.
Hey.
What'd I miss?
When you're facing stubborn stains, you're always in a fierce fight. Clean Soft kicks out stains. Kimateki.
Now more than ever, you need to be abreast with the daily happenings wherever you are. Get the Daily Nation e-paper with a free COVID-19 newsletter at a special highly discounted rate of Kenya shillings 500 for a period of 1 month. Daily Nation. News anytime, anywhere.
For a better tomorrow, don't forget to do the 1, 2, 3 with Colgate every night.
Baba amekuwa mgonjwa, amekonda, hata ana nguvu.
Nakata kwenda hospitali kwa nini? Si nilikwambia tuwezi jua kwa hakika kama ni TB. Mpaka uende hospitali upimwe. Na kama ni TB, unatibiwa kwa hospitali yote bila malipo. Tests unafanywa bila malipo. Madawa unapewa bila malipo. Utaambukiza kila mtu kwa hii nyumba.
Usingoje hadi dakika ya mwisho. Pimwa kwenye hospitali ya serikali. Matibabu inapatikana bila malipo. TB inakinga na tiba. Stay safe. Go digital. Reduce the use of cash and the risk of contamination. Enjoy the convenience and security of PesaPap mobile banking and Family Bank internet banking solutions anytime, anywhere. During this period, money transfer services, PesaLink and balance inquiry from your Family Bank account across all channels are free. For customers with existing facilities who may need support or extension of their repayments, talk to us. Terms and conditions apply. Prevent COVID-19. Family Bank. With you for life. Family Bank is regulated by the Central Bank of Kenya.
Ever thought of owning a place you call your home? Mahiga Homes is turning your long life goal into a reality in a period of 10 months. 25 minutes drive from Nairobi CBD in a fast developing area on exit 11 of the thickest superhighway in a serene environment with all social, economic and health amenities within reach. 2 million Kenya shillings as a deposit and the balance in flexible installments. Mahiga Homes, creating smiles.
This is NTV.
Na barabara kabisa, siku nyingine tunapokutana tena hewani, nikitumai kwamba siku yako imekuwa njema kama yangu ilivyokuwa. Basi karibu kwa taarifa za utendeti na za kuaminika za NTV Jioni, lakini kwanza tupate vipasho.
Nairobi continues to lead with 31 cases, followed by Kilifi with 6.
Visa vina vipya vya maambukizi ya corona vyatangazwa Kenya, huku vingi vikiwa vijijini Nairobi. Wahubiri watatu wazuiwa na polisi huko Bungoma kwa kukaidi marufuku ya kuandaa mikutano ya ibada. Ibada ya Jumapili yafikia waumini nyumbani kupitia mitandao ya interneti baada ya makanisa kufungwa. Na polisi wazuia mazishi ya kijana aliyedaiwa kupigwa na polisi na kufariki huko Mombasa.
Mbashara kutoka jumba la Nation. Hii ni NTV Jioni na Ngoiri.
Mtazamaji, basi karibu na karibisha kwa moyo mkunjufu katika lugha ishara. Tuko naye Flora Atieno. Mtazamaji, watu 4 wamethibitishwa kuugua virusi vya korona humu nchini na kuongeza idadi walioathirika kufikia 42. Serikali aidha imetilia mkazo suala la kuangazia usafi kama mbinu ya kipekee kuzuia maambukizi. Serikali imesema kwamba ina uwezo kwa sasa kuhudumia wagonjwa 1000 katika vituo vya afya nchini, mbali na kutaja kwamba imeagiza vifaa vya kuwasaidia wagonjwa kupumua katika wodi. Waziri Kagwe aidha ameonya vikali yeyote ambaye anatoa taarifa zenye kuogofya na ambazo hazijathibitishwa na serikali.
They include 1 Kenyan and 3 foreigners from America, Cameroon, and Burkina Faso. This now brings to 42 the number of those who have tested positive for the virus in Kenya. Of the 4 confirmed cases, 3 are based in Nairobi and 1 from Mombasa.
Katika kila county tushiriki, tukae pamoja na tuone ni namna gani tutashinda hii ugonjwa. Kama wewe uko na ujuzi ya kutengeneza masks katika county, ni muhimu county emergency response team ipatie local capacity ili tuweze kutengeneza facial masks, protective gear, kwa sababu hii leo ni mafunzo kwetu.
I'd like to confirm that within Kenya there are more than 50 companies that are capable of providing some of these medical inputs. We started obviously with things like sanitizers, and we've seen a large number coming to the market. Our textile sector has confirmed that they have capacity to be able to make the PPEs, and we are in conversations also with our motor sector to see if they can also make some of these ventilators.
We have noted that misinformation is doing the rounds in social media, where a leader in the country is claiming that there are over 7,000 people in mandatory quarantine. And while this may ultimately be the case, and even perhaps even more people might get into quarantine, it is simply at the moment not true. So why would you wish, as a leader of society? It sounds like a wish. Why would you wish that 7,000 Kenyans should be in quarantine? And why would you think that the government is not telling you the truth? To hide it for what purpose? So it's really disheartening. And for the record, we have 2,050 people currently in mandatory quarantine in 14 designated places, in hotels and government designated places.
Umemsikia huyo waziri wa afya Mutahi Kagwe akiwaonya wanasiasa. Na sasa tunakuuliza swali letu, una ujumbe gani kwa wanasiasa wanaotumia janga la corona kupiga siasa? Una ujumbe gani kwa wanasiasa wanaotumia janga la corona kupiga siasa? Sema nasi kupitia mitandao ya kijamii, Facebook, Twitter @Ngoiri official @NTV Jioni. Bila shaka baada ya muda usiokuwa mrefu nitasoma mawili matatu kutoka kwako. Kwengineko, polisi huko Bungoma wanawazuilia wahubiri 3 baada ya kukutwa wakiendeleza ibada licha serikali kupiga marufuku mikutano ya umma. Wahubiri hao kutoka makanisa ya Jehovah Witness Apostolic Faith Ministries Mufutu na Repentance and Holiness walikuwa wakiendeleza ibada wakati walipokamatwa. Hata hivyo, kama anavyotuarifu mwanahabari wetu Zakias Mwasame, baadhi ya waumini walifanikiwa kutoroka walipowaona maafisa wa polisi.
Mchezo wa paka na panya baina ya wahubiri na polisi hapa Bungoma umeonekana kuendelea kwa siku ya 3 sasa. Hii ni baada ya mhubiri Sostin Wafula wa kanisa la Repentance and Holiness kukutwa ndani ya nyumba hii kijijini Kibabii, eneo bunge la Kandui, akiendeleza ibada. Sostin alikuwa ameupumbaza polisi kwa kukwepa kanisa lake la kawaida na kuandaa ibada ndani ya nyumba ili asigundulike, lakini wapi?
Chukua Biblia. Beba Biblia zako. Twende Biblia tunaenda na beba hiyo. Beba.
Naye mhubiri Kevin Wekesa wa kanisa la Jehovah's Witness huko Mayanja Vitunguu pia alipatikana. Alijitetea akisema alikuwa amefika kanisani kufagia japo alikuwa na zaidi ya watu 10 kinyume na maagizo ya serikali.
Nabii daktari ametuambia mkae pamoja kama familia, msikae na watu wengine, kaa kama familia.
Hiyo sasa ni hiyo ni ahodi. Na Yesu naye amesema nini?
Sasa kuna maswali mengine ofisa.
Huwezi jibu.
Sina vile na usajibu kwa sababu yeye anatumikia nabii wa Mungu, anatumikia Yesu.
Kilomita kadhaa kutoka hapa katika mtaa wa Mufutu, mhubiri Godfrey Njoroge wa kanisa la Apostolic Faith Ministries naye alikuwa akijitayarisha kuvuna kutoka kwa waumini. Polisi walioongozwa na kamishna wa kaunti ndogo ya Kandui Abdi Shakur walimfumania. Wote wanazuiliwa katika kituo cha polisi cha Bungoma wakisubiri kushtakiwa hapo kesho. Haya yanajiri siku moja tu baada ya polisi kuwafurusha waumini wa kanisa Katoliki katika makanisa ya St. Paul's Kandui na Christ the King mjini Bungoma walikuwa wamehudhuria misa. Makasisi wawili na watawa kadhaa walikamatwa. Viongozi wa makanisa mengine wamewataka wahubiri wakomeshe tabia hiyo, wakisema inahujumu juhudi za serikali za kuzuia kuenea kwa virusi vya corona.
I don't think it is the right time for us as a church, which should be the conscience of society, to inflict others with diseases.
Na katika kaunti jirani ya Trans Nzoia, kasisi pamoja na wafuasi wake 20 wamekamatwa baada ya kupatikana na polisi kanisani. Zakis Masame, NTV, Bungoma.
Wakati huo huo, agizo la serikali la makanisa na maeneo ya ibada kufungwa lilitekelezwa kikamilifu leo, huku ibada ikifuatiliwa kupitia mitandao ya interneti. Hata hivyo, baadhi ya makanisa hayakuandaa ibada ya Jumapili.
Huenda milango ya makanisa yamefungwa, lakini hilo halikuwa kikwazo kwa kasisi wa kanisa la AIC huko Kabarnet kuendelea na ibada ya Jumapili kama kawaida yake. Tofauti ya sasa ni kuwa aliongoza ibada nje. Wafuasi wake walipata mafunzo bila hofu.
Maana watu wakijifungia nyumba bila sababu ya kuomba, basi watu watapotea na hawataweza kurejea kanisani tena.
Maili nyingi kutoka hapa eneo la Machakos, Daniel Matheka anajiandaa kwa ibada isiyokuwa ya kawaida. Atakuwa katika mimbari, lakini kwa mara ya kwanza anahutubia ukumbi mtupu. Mahubiri yake yanawafikia wafuasi wake kupitia mitandao ya interneti. Anafahamu fika kuwa tuko zama tofauti.
To somebody outside there who I'm not seeing, maybe he's seeing me through the phone or through computer, but I'm not seeing him. And I'm speaking to somebody that I'm not hearing and that I'm not seeing. It is so funny. Things have changed to this much. And the Bible says, yes, God changes things.
Wanaofuatilia hotuba mahubiri mitandaoni pia wamelazimika kubadili maisha yao kufuatia janga la virusi vya corona. Kabla ya janga, Daniel Gashamuku, mkewe, kakake na watoto wangekuwa kanisani kupata chakula cha kiroho, lakini sasa wamejiunga na wengine kufuatilia ibada ya Jumapili mitandaoni.
Sasa tu ni kuabudu tu kwa nyumba, penye inaendelea hivyo, na hii ni wakati mgumu sana kwetu kama kanisa. Wakati tunafaa kuwa kanisani tukiomba ndio watupate hiyo nafasi.
Japo makanisa yamefungwa kwa mara ya kwanza katika miaka mingi, waumini hawakupitwa na neno. Kufungwa kwa makanisa ni sehemu ya hatua ilizochukua serikali katika kudhibiti kusambaa kwa virusi vya corona. Brenda Wanga, NTV.
Familia moja huko Matuga, kaunti ya Kwale, inalilia haki baada ya mpendo wao mwenye umri wa miaka 49 kuaga dunia baada ya madai kwamba alipigwa na maafisa wa polisi waliokuwa wakitekeleza marufuku ya kutoka nje mtaani Likoni. Mazishi ya mwenda zake yalikuwa yafanyike leo, lakini maafisa wa polisi walisitisha shughuli hiyo na kuchukua mwili wake kwa ajili ya kufanyiwa uchunguzi.
Jamaa na marafiki wa Hamisi Juma walikusanyika nyumbani kwake kijijini Zibani, kaunti ya Kwale kwa ajili ya mazishi. Hamisi ameaga dunia leo asubuhi alipokuwa akipokea matibabu katika hospitali ya rufaa ya Msambweni. Inasemekana kifo chake kilisababishwa na majeraha aliyopata kutokana na kichapo alichopokea Ijumaa usiku kutoka kwa maafisa wa polisi waliokuwa wakitekeleza amri ya kutotoka nje mtaani Likoni.
Ali slow down, wakamtupia rungu, wakampiga la mkono, akapoteza mwelekeo na kwenda mtaruni. Basi yule mwingine alifanikiwa kuruka akatoroka, lakini yeye akachangamkiwa vizuri sana. Tumboni ilikuwa kilalamika maumivu chini huko ya tumbo, kifua, mbavu. Alipofika nyumbani bana walimpaki chapo paka akazirai.
Inasemekana mwenda zake ambaye ni mhudumu wa bodaboda alikuwa ameitwa kumpeleka hospitali mjamzito mtaani Likoni na alipatikana na polisi alipokuwa akirejea nyumbani saa 1:30 usiku.
Kulingana na hali na vile tuna taharuki ya muda wa kafyu na pia tukahofia vile ambavyo mwenzetu amepigwa. Sisi tukienda na sitakuwa hali gani? Kabidi tumwambie asubiri mpaka asubuhi, tukampeleka Kwale. Tulipofika Kwale akahudumiwa pale hospitali, akapigwa picha, lakini ikasemekana Kwale hawatamweza, wakamtransfer kumpeleka Msabweni. Tukaenda naye Msabweni. Alipoachwa Msabweni usiku mida ya saa 10 alfajiri ndipo alipopoteza maisha.
Sasa familia inataka uchunguzi ufanywe na hatua ichukuliwe dhidi ya maafisa wa polisi waliotekeleza unyama huo.
Kuweko kwa curfew hakumaanishi kwamba sasa wao wamepewa mamlaka ya kunyanyasa wananchi na kuwapiga na kuwapokonya haki zao. Tunataka wakuu hasa katika vitengo vya idara ya polisi watoe onyo kali kwa wale polisi wote wanaofanya mambo kinyume na sheria.
Hata hivyo, mazishi ya marehemu yaliyokuwa yamepangwa yafanyike leo yamesitishwa baada ya polisi kufika nyumbani na kuchukua mwili ili ufanyiwe uchunguzi. Kwa sasa wenyeji wanaishi kwa hofu mtaani humo, wakiomba kusitokee dharura ya kuwafanya watoke nje baada ya saa 1 usiku. Kevin Mutai, NTV, Mombasa.
Naam, tunasema pole kwa familia hiyo na tunatumai kwamba haki itatendeka. Baadhi ya wakazi na wafanyabiashara katika kaunti za Kilifi na Turkana wamekaidi baadhi ya maagizo ya kuzuia maambukizi ya COVID-19 nchini, huku upulizaji wa dawa ukifanyika katika kaunti za Mombasa na Nairobi. Kwa mengi na zaidi ni katika matukio majimboni.
Kaunti ya Mombasa imeanzisha shughuli ya kutia dawa maeneo ya umma kuzuia kusambaa kwa virusi vya corona. Shughuli hii inayofanywa usiku inalenga maeneo yanayotumika sana na wananchi. Shughuli kama hiyo iliendeshwa katika mitaa kadhaa ya makazi jijini Nairobi baada ya kuendeshwa katikati ya jiji kuanzia wiki iliyopita. Watu watatu akiwemo mhudumu wa hospitali aliyekuwa karantini wanauguza majeraha baada ya kuvamiwa na polisi wakiwa nyumbani katika eneo la Murkwejit katika kaunti ya Pokot Magharibi. Wakazi wanadai polisi walikuwa wanawafurusha watu barabarani baada ya muda wa marufuku ya kutoka nje kufika, na ghafla wakaanza kuingia majumbani mwao na kuwapiga. Naibu kamanda wa polisi wa eneo hilo Julius Malombe amesema anachunguza madai hayo. Wachimbaji mchanga katika timbo ya Kibokoni, kaunti ya Kilifi, wamekaidi agizo la serikali ya kaunti hiyo kuwataka wasitishe shughuli zao kama njia mojawapo ya kudhibiti kusambaa kwa maambukizi ya COVID-19.
Wanachimba mchanga lakini kunatoka fresh water.
Wafanyikazi katika timbo hiyo wamesema ni unafiki kwa serikali ya kaunti kuwataka kuacha kazi zao bila kuwapa njia mbadala za kujikimu kimaisha. Hata hivyo, wamesema wako tayari kuzingatia agizo la kila mmoja kuwa umbali wa mita 1 au zaidi wanapokuwa kazini. Kamishna wa kaunti ya Turkana Boniface Muthama ameagiza kufungwa na kupokonywa leseni kwa vyumba geni mjini Lodwar, akisema kuwa vimegeuzwa kwa siri kuwa vilabu na sehemu za kuendeshea usherati usiku. Kwa mujibu wa Muthama, wamiliki wa biashara hizo wamekuwa wakiuza pombe na kuruhusu kahaba, wakidai kuwa wao wanapangisha wageni wanaokuja tu kulala. Ni hali anayosema inawatia hatarini kuambukizwa COVID-19 wafanyabiashara wengine ambao wanatii agizo la serikali. Daniel Mule, NTV.
Naam, nimekuja katika upande wa pili wa studio maarufu kwa touch screen. Tuko tumekuuliza na ujumbe gani kwa wanasiasa wanaotumia janga la corona kupiga siasa. Jio Mao anasema Waziri Kagwe amesema hakuna mheshimiwa na mwananchi wa kawaida mbele ya sheria. Sheria itakata kwa pande mbili. Daktari Abdul Nur anasema mheshimiwa. Na Grayson anasema ni jambo la kusikitisha kuwa wanasiasa wanatumia janga hili kuendeleza njama zao. Natumai serikali itawachukulia hatua. Kama taifa tunafaa tushikane kupambana jango hilo. Nimependa hili sana la mwanasiasa. Haya, kwa sasa tunapata matangazo ya kibiashara, ndirejea na mengi zaidi.
Residents of Nakuru County have a reason to celebrate. This is after the minister in charge of food security, breakfast, lunch and dinner launched a program that is set to benefit residents of Nakuru.
Selector brand will be now available in Nakuru everywhere. We want to say without any avoidance of doubt that Selector is big, it is healthy and have every component of bringing happiness into a house, a hotel or everywhere where you're consuming this brand.
Selector, bigger, tasty and healthy.
Smiles are one of the most important things we have. In Kenya, 1 in 2 children still suffer from cavities. Pepsodent with maximum cavity protection repairs tiny holes before they become cavities. Because every smile matters.
Selena!
Toto, where's mommy?
Today's a toilet day.
What? Oh.
Selena!
Toilet day?
Tomorrow we're hosting a party and it's a matter of my reputation.
It's a toilet, not a white shirt. Even if you spend your entire day cleaning with bleach and detergent, it still won't be party ready.
Impossible.
Challenge. Harpic 10X. Even if you use bleach and detergent 10 times, they won't give you the same sparkling clean toilet that Harpic 10X will give you.
Wow!
Harpic 10X. Harpic, Kenya's #1 toilet cleaner.
I help women find independence by training them in fish farming. It's tough on my back, joints, and can cause headaches. Panadol Extra relieves multiple types of pain. Panadol Extra, now with new Optizorb technology to fight multiple tough pains with 3 times more pain-relieving medicine in the first 30 minutes when you need it most. Seeing them support themselves makes any pain worth it. If symptoms persist, seek medical advice.
Did you know that Downy Concentrate softens and freshens 2.5 more clothes per litre than the leading fabric softener? It's more concentrated, so use only 1/3 of a cap.
All day, we expect our mouth to do all kinds of things. That is why it needs all-round protection. New Oral-B Pro Health toothpaste. Its advanced technology helps prevent both tooth holes and gum problems that can lead to tooth loss. It strengthens your teeth, giving them all-round protection. Because your mouth is doing more than you think. New Oral-B Pro Health. All-round protection for your whole mouth.
Asante sana kwa kuendelea kuwa nami na karibu tena. Serikali imeanza kukusanya data kuhusu chakula cha ziada katika kaunti 26 ambacho kitatumika wakati wa dharura nchi inapojiandaa kupambana na athari za janga la corona. Katika barua yake kwa baraza la magavana nchini, katibu katika Wizara ya Kilimo Profesa Habadi Boga anataka kaunti hizo zikusanye data kuhusu kiasi cha mahindi, mchele, ngano, wimbi, mtama na pojo. Serikali itanunua vyakula hivyo ili kutoa kama msaada kwa Wakenya. Huku visa vya maambukizi vikiongezeka, serikali inaendelea kujiandaa kuhusiana na watakao kabiliwa na hatari ya kukosa chakula. Na kwa taarifa hiyo tunapumzika tena, nitarejea na taarifa za michezo.
Sensitivity is a short, sharp pain that people experience when they have something hot or cold getting to the nerve of the tooth, causing that discomfort. If the sensitivity is left alone, it may get worse. Dentists recommend Sensodyne to their patients. It's able to get inside the tooth and calm the nerve of the tooth down, and the proof's in the results. It works.
Ukeketaji ni mojawapo ya dhulma ya kijinsia dhidi ya wanawake na wasichana. Kwa miaka mingi, wasichana na wanawake wameathiriwa na madhara ya ukeketaji. Kulingana na takwimu za UNICEF, zaidi ya wasichana na wanawake milioni 200 wanaoishi ulimwenguni leo wamekeketwa, na milioni 9.3 wamekeketwa nchini Kenya. Vilevile, wengine milioni 3 wamo katika hatari ya kukeketwa kila mwaka. Rais Uhuru Kenyatta amejitolea kukomesha ukeketaji nchini Kenya ifikiapo mwaka wa 2022. Hivyo basi ni jukumu la kila Mkenya kukomesha ukeketaji katika jamii, vijijini na kaunti zetu. Kukomesha ukeketaji ni jukumu langu, jukumu lako na jukumu letu. Ujumbe huu umeletwa kwako na Anti-FGM Board kwa ushirikiano na UNICEF.
Beat germs with Jik. Kills 99.9% of germs on your kitchen surfaces, sponges, chopping boards, sink and fridge, and your bathroom taps, showerhead, basin and surfaces. Just Jik it. Look out for our new improved packaging in store. Just Jik it.
PesaLink is the cheapest way to send and receive money instantly into your bank account, anytime, anywhere. Use PesaLink today in 3 easy steps. Step 1. Select PesaLink on your bank app or USSD. Step 2. Select either send to phone or send to account. Step 3. Input the phone number or account number to send money to and confirm the transaction. PesaLink. Easy, affordable, instant.
Smiles are one of the most important things we have. In Kenya, 1 in 2 children still suffer from cavities. Pepsodent with maximum cavity protection repairs tiny holes before they become cavities. Because every smile matters.
Katika michezo, ligi kuu ya taifa la Belarus ndio ligi pekee barani Uropa ambayo bado haijakatizwa na janga la homa ya corona. Ligi hiyo sasa imeanza kupata mikataba ya kupeperusha mechi moja kwa moja katika nchi tofauti kwa mashabiki wenye kiu. Wasimamizi wa ligi hii wamesema hawakusudii kuahirisha mechi au kusitisha ligi ambayo ilianza mapema mwezi huu. Ingawa ligi hii haina timu tajika, inaweza kukata kiu ya kandanda kwa mashabiki wake. Shirikisho la soka nchini Belarus limeandika mikataba na nchi 10 zikiwemo Urusi, Israel na India.
Плотников и что отрымливается у нас?
Na rais wa shirikisho la soka barani Uropa, Alexander Seferin, amesema kwamba ligi za bara Uropa huenda zikalazimika kusitisha msimu bila kukamilika kwa sababu ya homa ya corona. Akizungumza na gazeti la Italia la Republican, Seferin alisema kwamba kuna mipango mitatu ambayo shirikisho lake inazingatia. Moja ni kuanza tena ligi hizi katikati ya Mei, mwanzo wa Juni au mwisho wa Juni. Ikiwa janga halitakuwa limethibitiwa kufikia hapo, huenda msimu malizike. Lakini pia kuna mipango ya ligi kuanza na kuendelea hadi msimu ujao. Kulingana na Seferin, swala muhimu kabisa ni kumaliza ligi hata kama itawalazimu kucheza bila mashabiki. Nakwambia leo muda haunasi. Nilikuwa nimekuuliza ujumbe wako kwa wanasiasa wetu kuhusu Alumasa Jackson anasema nikiwa Biafra isili ujumbe kwa wanasiasa wasiweke swala la corona kuwa siasa, wangoje wakati wa siasa ufike wafanye siasa zao zenye wamezoea kila uchao. Na mwisho tu kabisa, David Wafula anasema tuheshimu serikali, janga hili ni la kitaifa, sio ya chama wala kabila. Haya, kufikia hapo natamatisha taarifa zetu za NTV jioni. Katika lugha ishara tulikuwa naye Flora Teno. Kuanzia kesho mimi nitakaa tu nyumbani, itakuwa zamu yake Nuru Abdulaziz pamoja na Salim Swale. Bye bye.
This is NTV.
Melissa?
Mom, it's Dad's birthday today. I'm giving him a party just like he gives me.
Nothing makes a mother more proud than seeing her child growing up. But I know that as she learns to care for others, she'll face even more germs and the risk of illnesses.
That's why you need strong Dettol protection. Just 1 cup of Dettol protects your home and family from up to 100 illness-causing germs.
Growing up needs Dettol protection.